Hello, Bretta Provost here, and how is everyone doing today? I am glad to be back and missed uh, interacting live with you. Only had really internet in the morning and evening. We didn't pay for service. But anyway, if you're jumping on, please drop a hi in the comments. Let me know how you're doing, what's new, and super excited to be going live on LinkedIn. For those of you who are joining, give me a little shout out, and I might ramble a little bit. Normally I have some notes and a little bit of some talking points that I write out, and I did not do that today, just because I wanted to share a little bit about my recent trip to Roatan and just talk off the cuff a little bit, and then chat a little bit about going way out of our comfort zone. And I'm going to come back to that topic a little bit as far as getting out of your comfort zone and that that fear that you have in those moments of really stepping out on things that you're aspiring to do, and also just how important that is and how things have happened in my life that when I take that chance to go way out of my comfort zone, is all I know is that good things happen when I step out of my comfort zone. And there was a lot of this on this trip. I will be completely honest and say there was a little bit of anxiety leaving, because obviously we're going out of the country. You have all the COVID requirements, we're taking our kids, you have all of the normal kinds of things that are going on when you are trying to leave for a trip. But all these added things to get to your destination. And I had some kind of anxiety about that. We had a great trip, and then part of the trip, and I appreciate all of you that have been following and commenting, and I know I haven't had a chance to even answer everyone's comments and get back to them, because like I said, we didn't have a ton of internet and catching up on everything. So but one of the things that we were working on, and we were with our friends who really enjoy scuba diving, and I had done it maybe twice, and that was 10 years ago. And then we went to Mexico, and I did do a little refresher, and but still had a little bit of anxiety about, trepidation about doing some of the diving. And we also had our son, who's 11, who also recently got scuba qualified, and he had trouble equalizing his ears and going down, and I've had trouble equalizing my ears and going down. Well, we, went with our dear, dear friends, and on this trip to Roatan, I was really wanting my son to be able to dive. I was wanting to get a little more invested in diving, and I did, and I was able to do that, but, I just want to be clear that there was a lot of fear around it, and the importance of overcoming those fears, overcoming those things that are out of your comfort zone, because I always know that good things are on the other side of that. And so, not only was I concerned about my son being able to be diving, but also myself, because I know on my very first shore dive we went, so from Roatan you can actually go right from the edge of the water and go diving, and the reefs are not very far away, and so it's easy and you don't have to go very deep. But on my very first time out, even though I had just been a few months ago, I kind of went down not very far, maybe 15 feet. And then I was having a little bit of claustrophobia and a little bit of I just want to go back to the top, which I did, and good thing to do it there. You don't want to do it when you're super deep. And then just started to get a little bit more comfortable, as well as my older son, who's 11. He got scuba qualified at 10, and which is super, super young. And it's any part that he can do, I am just so happy that he is doing that and showing, his own strength and determination to do it. So anyway, I had some of those fears, but it was beautiful, amazing reef landscape, even if you were shore diving. And then we started doing more dives. I went on a boat dive, and just saw absolutely incredible fish and turtles, and we saw eels, which quite frankly I find a little terrifying. I had no desire to get close to one of those. But, and then I decided to go ahead and go, because I didn't realize we did like the quick and dirty dive way back when I got it done in Nicaragua, which was like 10 years ago. And so my son was actually a higher qualification than I was. And I decided to get my open water. And then if we wanted to do some of the deep dives, which were, you know, nearing 100 feet, I had to work on getting my advanced qualifications, which I ended up doing. I never thought in a million years that I would go to 100 feet, which we did. And it was absolutely one of my favorite dives the whole time, was going to a spot off of Roatan called Texas, because everything is bigger. But it was like the nuttiest thing that I've ever been on, because it's literally like this sheer wall, like a whole wall of reef that you go down, you go to like 100 feet, and then it just keeps going. Like you can't even see the bottom. And you stop at 100 feet, and then you kind of work your way back up and go like check things out on the way. And I didn't really even realize that I was that far down on the dive when I did end up going to the 100 feet. But then as we were on our way up, we saw a huge eagle ray, which if you don't know what that is, it's like a stingray, but they're really, really big. And they don't have a stinger, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. I'm not a marine biologist. And a huge, huge eagle ray that was about 6 feet long. And they are just so graceful. They just sort of float through the, sea, just like gliding along, just so beautiful. It was so cool to be able to see that. I'm going to post pictures. And just a little bit after this, I'll post some more pictures that we got on some of the dives. And then my final dive, which was the one thing that was really out of my comfort zone, but was on my bucket list, which was to swim with sharks. And I always thought it would be in a cage to swim with sharks. But as it turns out, there's a shark dive, which was our last dive of the whole trip, the Saturday before we were leaving. They've been doing it for 10 years, and you get to swim with the sharks if the conditions are all right. And trust me, there was tons of trepidation, tons of like fear around this. This was going to about 70 feet. And we go down, and you actually have your back. I'll show you guys the video, but the conditions were right, and you get a chance. I got a chance to go swim with the sharks. They were all females. They're all actually really trained. It's kind of like a show because they're trained. They come around, they feed them a little bit, and then they disappear. So we did get to, swim with the sharks, which like huge check off my bucket list that I got a chance to do that. And of course it was scary in there, some coming at you, but they were not aggressive at all, except for when they open the bucket to feed them underwater, and you see one flick of the tail and they're like in there, and it's crazy madness, and then they all leave. So anyway, but the point that I'm trying to make in sharing a little bit of the story is that, I saw my son taking the time to get out of his comfort zone and how much that made him grow. And I saw how much I was stepping out of my comfort zone, like looking fear in the face and just going for it. And I know when I do those things that good things happen, always on the other side. And of those things that you really want to do, but that you're really afraid of, and you don't know exactly how it's all gonna go, or you have these fears, but then it's like the moment you get past those amazing things happen. I am so, so proud. I almost cried this morning when I dropped off my son at school, and I was talking to the head of the school today just about him and diving, and just watching him have that experience with me and overcoming his own fears. is something that I will never, ever forget. So glad that I got that opportunity to do that with him. And I just wanted to share and encourage you to step out, do those things that maybe scare you, that you know you want to do, and that good things can follow through on that fear. So go out there, make it an absolutely incredible day. I'm so happy to be back and chatting with you. Thanks so much for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.